This is Sarah Barnett, and this lesson was designed for a group of 12th grade AP English students who were asked to write a comparison-contrast essay using the novel A Lesson Before Dying by Ernest Gaines and the play Fences by August Wilson. Both of these texts are set in the African American community with the pre-civil rights movement, and while they both have similar themes, they do have different nuances in regards to how the main character reacts to the struggles that face the African American community. The lesson addressed content standards related to informative explanatory writing, as well as using textual evidence to support analysis of writing, as well as technology standards related to communication and collaboration and problem solving, decision making, and critical thinking. The various tools that students used consisted first of Padlet. On designated class days, groups would work to discuss, to come up with ideas that compared and contrast these two texts, and they recorded their ideas on a Padlet. Here's an example of one group's Padlet. They're coming up with various ideas, various quotations that relate to various topics that they either came up with on their own or that were provided for them by the teacher. These Padlets were all linked to my personal school website so that students could access them on various days. Here's another group's Padlet. So you can see the various topics that they're looking at, the quotations that they're including here, and they would work on this Padlet various days as they worked through the two texts. The second tool that they used was blogging, and I asked them to blog their introduction with a thesis statement for feedback from both me and from their classmates. So I created the blog on my website, and then students responded to these. You can see here I've got 230 comments. I'm not going to show them directly because they do contain student last names, but here are a couple examples. A student would post his or her introduction paragraph with thesis statement and then have various group mates evaluate it, give them suggestions regarding grammar and mechanics, give them suggestions just simply regarding clarity of their ideas, and then I also responded to them with specific emphasis on grammar and on clarity as well. And here's another blog so that you can see again what students were asked to put forth for their classmates to evaluate and how they were asked to evaluate their classmates. The final tool that students used was Google Drive and Google Docs through that. And in this, they typed up their rough draft, but then most importantly, they used some of the features for editing and revision. Each person was partnered up, and their partner was tasked with finding for them 6 sentences that they thought needed revising. They highlighted those sentences, and then over in the comments, they gave them suggestions about how they could improve those sentences. Our writing focus in this unit was on eliminating wordy constructions, and so while some of their revisions focused specifically on that, others just basically focused on clarity as well. So through these 3 internet tools, students focused on higher order thinking skills, such as analysis by using the Padlet, such as evaluation by evaluating their group mates' introduction paragraphs and thesis statements, and then of course the higher order skill of creation by actually creating an MLA formatted paper on their own. Differentiation occurred through this lesson plan in various ways. Students were able to choose their topic that they wrote on. They were also able to choose the group that they worked with. And what I found is when students choose their group, they tend to work homogeneously with people who have their same ability level. So this allowed me as a teacher to really focus with the students who were in the lower level group. They didn't even realize that they were in the lower level group, but they had naturally grouped themselves in that way. During their in-class discussion time, I had scaffolded by providing for them some possible discussion starters. Some groups used these, some didn't need them whatsoever. Students were assessed in various ways. They were assessed using a checklist for each of the tools. You can see those checklists provided here. That was their tool for Padlet, a checklist for blogging, and then a checklist for Google Drive as well. And then their final drafts of their essays were assessed using the standards-based rubric. My students were already very familiar using Google Drive and blogging, so we didn't have to do much troubleshooting with those, but Padlet was a new tool for us. So I built a day into the lesson plan to allow them to have a kind of practice Padlet session using a different assignment. This allowed us to work out some of the kinks with that and for the students to learn how to use that. I think if I did this lesson plan again, I would have students continue to use Padlet, but I'd have them create 2 Padlets, one for their group and one for their individual essay, so that they could put thoughts on the group page and then also use Padlet to kind of map out their own essay individually. I really enjoyed this project and found that even my AP students appreciated the scaffolding that the internet tools provided for them.